Hey Alice, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm excellent, thank you. Thanks for taking the time to take this call and to chat about your business. So,
Sure.
tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure. My name is Alice. I am a web designer. I have been running a web design company for over 7 years in Richmond Hill, Ontario. So yeah, that's what I do.
Awesome. And when you signed up with me, tell us what your life was and business, what it was like before.
Right, right. So I believe I signed up with Dan about a year and a half ago. At the time, I was working about 12 to 14 hours a day. I am your typical entrepreneur who does everything on their own. Even though I have staff, I just feel like I can do a better job. So I was running around, working a lot of hours, putting in a lot of time, weekends and evenings. And it was quite overwhelming and quite chaotic. And the worst thing is that I don't really necessarily think that it made a difference on my business. It really didn't move forward. It's not like I grew significantly, and it's not like I really did anything that add value, I guess, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah, and if I recall, you were you were doing some things in your business that weren't even generating that much
No,
revenue, but they
no.
were costing you a lot of time and
Yeah,
really
a lot of
frustrating.
time. Very frustrating. Yeah, I was going to a lot of different groups, a lot of different networking groups and whatnot, taking up a lot of my evenings away from my family. And it really just not generating any leads, generating any results. Some of the other big business activities I did, I mean, like I tried a lot of like 30 plus marketing strategies. At the end of the day, only 3 things worked, but I still spent a lot of time on the other 27 things. So that was a year and a half ago.
Hmm. Well, and I also remember you were putting time in doing all sorts of different things, and then we started tracking the time you were getting back.
Mhm.
And I remember at the beginning it was like the first week there was probably 5 to 10 hours back. Next week more hours, more hours, more, and it
Yeah,
was
I didn't even think it was possible. I'm just like, where? What do you mean I'm not getting my time back? But we did that for like a couple of months, and it was just very eye opening because I would count it on Friday afternoon. I'd be like, how many hours did I save this week? I'd be like, wait, I saved 5 hours. How is that possible? I didn't even like think I can. Yeah, yeah, that's
Well, it's incredible once you start seeing it, right? And you realize where your time is being devoted
yeah,
and where it's being wasted,
yeah,
and then you have this revelation where you're like, wow, like I can have more time for myself, and I can have more downtime or
yeah,
free time or free will,
yeah,
yeah, and it's possible. But yeah, it was just wonderful watching that because you were like, how can I get 10 hours back in a week? And
yeah,
and the key here is that, and I know you realize it, but it was about getting you time and space, because if you are going to work on your business, you can't be just crazy busy. You have
yeah,
to be focused and only working on the critical things. And so
exactly,
it got you that
exactly.
time and space, which most people miss that. They're like, well, why don't we just get started? It's like, well, no, you need some time and space so
Yeah,
so that
yeah,
you can
yeah,
work on your
yeah.
business.
No,
Otherwise,
that makes
it's going to be
sense.
chaotic, and you're going to be actually working more hours and on the way to burnout. So,
Exactly, exactly. And I felt like I was right at that edge. I'm like, if I just keep on pushing this for a bit more, I could, but I'm gonna be burned out. Yeah. So, so I'm glad that then, you know, made it made it possible so that I can cut down my time without really sacrificing anything. Really. Yeah.
yeah, you avoided the recipe for disaster. So that was good.
I know. I
Perfect.
did. Yeah.
Perfect timing. Okay, and what are you looking forward to in the future now that you have you have a self-managing business, and to a certain extent, and you have your
Yeah.
team, and you're moving forward?
Yeah. Yeah, so this has been a very, very good question on my head. So one thing I would say is that once you get your time back, you realize, wow, like, I actually don't know what to do with my life. Because for like the past 14 years being like a professional designer, I've always been working long hours. So all of a sudden, by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you finish your day. You're just like, well, what am I gonna do with the rest of my days? So some of the things that I am looking at is that now that my business is not taking up of my time, the work is actually done by my staff and managing them has been easy. I'm thinking of expanding the business. So that's actually one thing I thought it would be good to do, because before I was the bottleneck, but now that I'm no longer the bottleneck, I can take on as many business as I want and just hire more staff to do it. So I don't think it would really make a difference on my time. The other thing is that it freed my time because I recently had a baby. So my son is 3 months old now. So this will allow me to spend more time with him in the afternoon, and yeah, and I think that would be like great because they grow so fast. So that's the second thing. Third thing is that now that I have all this time, I want to use it to like learn and read and advance my skills, because I felt like when you're just in the business doing the work, you actually don't have time to like think and pause, and it's very important to keep up to date. So the learning piece is huge. Now that I have the time, I can do that. So that's the three things I'm going to do in the next year or two. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, and now you have a foundation, and that's the key thing. And it was an intentional imbalance at the beginning to set that up. That's the
Yeah.
preparation, but it was necessary. And
Yeah.
now you have the freedom to do the creative work in your business, which is what you really enjoy. And
Yeah.
and in case you didn't realize it, but I think you did or do, is that you're becoming an entrepreneur, because a
Yeah.
true entrepreneur is somebody who delegates work. They don't do all of the work or do 50% or more of
Exactly.
the work. That's just that, that's not entrepreneurship. That's
Exactly.
having a business and working in it. So
Crazy.
not fun. So
No, no.
okay. And final question: who do you think should work with me?
I think. Well, I maybe I'm just coming out of this phase, right? I'm this entrepreneur who has, uh, I want to say, a fairly successful business, but been bottlenecked and has been stuck for like 2 3 years and trying multiple things. So I feel like majority of the entrepreneur go through this. So entrepreneurs who have already gone through the initial hurdle of like setting up the business now is like, okay, doesn't matter what I do, nothing seems to move the needle. So how do I do that? Like I gave my solid 12-hour days for years. Now, like I feel like I don't want to do this anymore. So I feel like people who are in that space will be great to work with them, because like it is a breakthrough, and I feel like majority of business owners, and I know many who have been running their business for 30 40 years and still stuck here. And yet, like, yes, as much as I don't want to be stuck here for like 2 3 years, I still feel like looking back, I still took a shortcut. So so yeah, so I feel like business owners who are looking for that, who are like, okay, you know what, it's time that I'm gonna take some time off for myself. I'm sick of being stuck where I am. I want to break through. I think they are the perfect candidates to work with them.
Hmm. Well, yeah, and you know what? It's what I do as well. I look over other people's shoulders who have studied, who have done the work, who have figured out the systems and,
Exactly.
and the shortcuts, like you said.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think in life there are like the two routes, right? One is that, you spend the time, the energy, try to figure everything out on your own. And quite frankly, that can take years if you're lucky. And sometimes even like a whole lifetime you don't, because if you don't read the right book or if you don't meet the right mentor, you might be just stuck. You just didn't think there's another way. That's one way. And the other way is that, you work with somebody who have been through this and just take the shortcut. And in my opinion, like when I compare like time versus like working with somebody, I'd rather just take the shortcut. Like, why would I want to spend 20 30 years being frustrated, and might not even get to where I want to go, like versus just invest half a year, into a mentorship, and just take the easy path. So
Mhm.
that's yeah, and I feel like that sort of is the success. I have talking to many people to shortcut their path. Yeah.
Well, absolutely. And the thing is, we don't get time back, right? So, we
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
money we can invest and we can get it back, but
Yeah.
time passes
Mm,
by. We're dealers in time. So,
yeah.
yeah, I totally agree with that. Why not invest in somebody or a
Yeah.
system or a process that can help you move faster, instead of
Exactly.
struggling on your own? So,
Totally.
well,
Yeah.
thank you. I really want to thank you for taking the time to give some feedback, and it's been phenomenal, and I'm really looking forward to your future success. I know you have your creative zone, your cave that you're designing, so that you can actually, and we worked a little bit on that, but so that
Yeah.
you can do your creative work, do what you're passionate about, and
Exactly.
let everybody else around you do everything else that keeps your business flowing and growing.
For sure. For sure. Thank you, Dan.
Okay, thank you, Alice.